Welcome back. Finally getting around to running the test plot. This first pass is my bin run wheat. Basically 2 years from certified. If you're wondering what certified is, when hybrids, or not hybrids with wheat, there are wheat hybrids, but generally most aren't. Wheat varieties are developed, they get certified, and they are certified to be free from weed seed and so much pure to the type of or the variety that they're supposed to be and everything. So the farther out you get from certified, you start getting crosses with other wheats, and that might not necessarily get the characteristics you originally wanted. You're usually good for a couple years. A lot of guys do it. And there's that variety. And hopefully I'll get a list of everything. I can add them into the video when I edit it. I make one pass, then I have to run back down to the other end where the scale wagon is, dump it, they weigh it, do the math, figure out how many bushels per acre it was, then test weight and all that good stuff. Well, let's go do that. Next variety, I planted this with a 13-foot drill. Kind of makes it easy to figure it up. We know we planted 13 feet wide. It's narrower than my head. Scott says that first sample was 15.9. A little wetter than I thought it was, but I can live with that. Keep the air to it in the bin. We can push that moisture out. That, and there's rain in the forecast again, so I definitely see this variety is cutting better. Gotta watch where I'm driving so I don't get any of the other. Left a little gap between them. I think it shows up. Definitely showing up on my screen here. You can see the difference. This is a bearded wheat. It's got the whiskers. The next one is not. The previous one was not. I prefer a bearded wheat. The deer don't like it. They, the non-bearded wheat, they will just bite onto the straw below the head and strip the grain right off with their teeth, and it'll just be a bare straw laying there. But they do not like those whiskers, and they will avoid the bearded wheat and move on to something else. Okay. Watch where you're driving, Chris. Throw all the test results off. I'm gonna put this down. Next variety, non-bearded. Maybe stuff's getting dried out a little better. I think everything seems to be cutting better. Or this variety's cutting better. Maybe it's just my bin run stuff. I think, if I remember right, I had that drill set a little bit lower than the big drill for rate. They're all seated at the same. See the sprayer tracks, but fertilizer and spray we do crossways to the way it's planted and harvested, and that way each one has the same number of tracks in it. If there's any variation in the fertilizer or sprays, it goes crossways across all of them. If you go with it, say the fertilizer spreader was throwing a little heavier in the middle, which I think mine does, then you're gonna have one variety that's going to do better because it got more fertilizer than the other. So like right here is a spot where my fertilizer, my spreader probably threw this a little bit more, and that was enough to make the wheat go down because it yielded a little too good, and it kind of goes straight across that way to line up with the way I would have spread it. So that's the deal there. Try to keep it all as honest and upfront. Want good numbers that we can use and compare things with. I'm definitely going to try to get some bearded wheat for this fall. The one field I'm going to put on, the deer are really hard on stuff over there, and but like I say, they don't like the beards. Part of the reason I don't put the wheat over there. It's either that or it's beans now, and if it goes on the corn next year, they really hammer the corn hard. So I'll give them something they don't like to eat. Well, this one did close to 200 pounds better on a little sample like this. That's definitely significant. Note to self, this one looks good, nice and thick, but it is cutting a little tougher than the other varieties. I'm gonna go a little slower. We'll see what the proof in the pudding is as far as the speed of cutting. So a lot of that's the combine's fault. I should have gone through the cutter bar before wheat. It didn't make it look that bad, but you get these high humidities and things got to be sharp, and I was not. Oh yeah, I can hear it hammering there. Have to slow down. Yeah, somewhere in between the previous two. Definitely did not cut as well. Non-bearded, laying down just a little bit more from the weather. Not unharvestable. Definitely not standing as well. And cutting a little tougher too. I'm having to keep the speed down. Kind of went down there, but still up enough where I can get it. That slows the guy down. Doesn't dry out as quick, so you don't want that. It looks familiar to what, similar to what I've been running with my bin run stuff. I wonder if it's the same variety. Time will tell. Brought 1,400 pounds. Still not quite as good as that one. Another bearded wheat. It's looking good. That last one looks like it made a fair amount of more straw than the others. But I was also having to cut it pretty low to make sure I got it all. At least pretty low for me. That can also make it cut harder because when you're close to the ground and the ground's wet from rain, you got that moisture coming off the ground. It's gonna kind of keep the straw a little tougher at the bottom. Just depends on what you want out of your field, or out of your crop. I like to leave straw in the field. It's good for the soil. Yeah, overall I'm liking this one. Interesting to see how it turns out. Just looked at the radar and there's some rain building up in the distance. I think we'll be able to get this test plot done, but probably won't get much farther than that. Once again, I'll be glad the wagon has a tarp. That's what you get when it's hot and humid like this. Stuff can boil up at any time. The joys of farming. At least I didn't open the bin. This is the last of the seed company varieties. There's a couple different companies. It's always good to compare yourself against your competition. And then there's some more bin run from another farmer will be the next pass. That's why there's a little bit of rye in it. That's not my doing. That's something, you know, when you buy certified seed, you ain't gonna get other crop.
did pretty good. It's gonna crack 1398, 1400. One more pass for the test plot. At least they'll beat the rain by the looks. Here we have the variety from another farmer, a bin run. It's got a little bit of rye in it. Looks like good wheat. I don't know what variety it is. Went down a little bit right there. The other problem with down wheat for guys like me is you could pick up a rock and really ruin your day. At least in beans you can generally see the ground, but a good stand of wheat, it's hard to see the rocks down there. Yeah, the rye still got a little green in it. Alright, I better run this. I gotta keep her close to the ground in some of these spots. Wonder what that he had, 1664. Wow, that one did really good compared to the others. I'm gonna see if Scott wants me to run I can run one more strip of mine to kind of act as a control. Better hurry, clouds are getting dark. I left a pass of my wheat on the other side, and they can kind of use it as a control. You can compare the two sides and say, well, okay, you know, the soil was different over here, and they can use that for an adjustment figure or something. So it'll be interesting to me to see, you know, if there's any difference between here and 100 feet over that way, 150 feet. Either way, I'm running wheat. Try and get done what I can before the next shot comes. We're back to an 18-foot wide swath on this one, so it's coming out pretty darn close to what it was on the other one. There, pulled the fuel stop. That makes for the end of wheat for 2023. It's all in the bin. Did pretty good. As always, I appreciate everybody watching, and we will see you in the next one.